Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Recha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of Isaiah, the 39th chapter, which is dealing with, it's a fairly short chapter, but in here we see the ruler of Babylon. This is prior to the Neo-Babylonian Empire. So at this point, the Assyrians are still the powerhouse, right, in this region, and so they still have control over that region. But they had back and forth, right, even going back to the time of Sargon, the father of Sennacherib, with Babylon, right, in particular this ruler here. And so, given this opportunity, when you read up about him, in the scriptures, he's referred to as Merodach Baladan, but in secular history, he is referred to as Marduk Apla Idina II. And you can read a little bit about him here. Nothing too significant other than recounting what we're about to read here. So here, as we're about to read, he ends up hearing about the events that transpired in Isaiah 38. Right, which was Hezekiah being sick unto death, and the Lord having mercy on him and having him recover. So this is Isaiah chapter 39, verse 1. At that time, Merodach Baladan, the son of Baladan, king of Babylon, sent letters and a present to Hezekiah, for he had heard that he had been sick and was recovered. Now, more than likely, it's not that they had met before, right? But it was in the best interest of Merodach Baladan, considering his position in the region, right, having been driven out from Babylon by the Assyrians, and then eventually, looking for opportunities to come back and take over Babylon again. News travels, right, because there were information networks set up all around the East that word would get out. Today you have like newspapers. Well, now you really have it online. But back then you had couriers that would send news back and forth. So it's probable that the news of the revolt against the Assyrians that involved Judah got over there to the east. People heard about it and how the Lord delivered them, right? The people heard about it. At the very least, they must have heard that the Assyrians weren't able to take over Jerusalem, right? So you can imagine from a practical standpoint, this individual, Merodach Baladan, hearing this and his anti-Assyrian coalition he's trying to form, on his part, he's probably like, yo, let me extend some benevolence, if that's the right word. But let me try to get on the good side of Judah here, because they can possibly be a good ally. So he ends up sending the letters, right, by his messengers. And I believe in the book of Kings, it mentions he sent a gift as well. Yeah, it says sent letters and a present to Hezekiah. Anyway, these messengers come and they meet Hezekiah. Verse 2, and Hezekiah was glad of them and shewed them the house of his precious things, the silver and the gold and the spices and the precious ointment and all the house of his armor and all that was found in his treasures. There was nothing in his house, nor in all his dominion, that Hezekiah shewed them not. So in his joy of being recovered, of receiving this maybe it's kind words or whatever was contained in that letter, he's basically showing them like, hey, look, I got this, I got that, I got this, that. Then came Isaiah the prophet unto King Hezekiah and said unto him, what said these men? And from whence came they unto thee? And Hezekiah said, they are come from a far country unto me, even from Babylon. Then said he, what have they seen in thine house? And Hezekiah answered, all that is in mine house have they seen. There's nothing among my treasures that I have not shewed them. Then said Isaiah to Hezekiah, hear the word of the Lord Yahweh of hosts. Behold, the days come that all that is in thine house, and that which thy fathers have laid up, in store until this day shall be carried to Babylon. Nothing shall be left, saith the Lord. Now, what Isaiah was prophesying about here was something that would happen like a couple hundred years, right? After the time of Isaiah, right? Because, we have Jeremiah that comes after Isaiah and a few, prophets around that time, even Ezekiel prophesying about the same Babylonians coming here. But at the time, like, nobody even knew that Babylon would eventually become the world superpower, or the one of the major powers in that region, by overtaking the Assyrians with help of the Medes, right? Nobody knew that, because Babylon was still under Assyria, and Assyria went on for a good while after. But the Isaiah prophesied, right, that those Babylonians that you just showed them everything, they're going to be the same ones that come in here and take everything. And lo and behold, fast forward to around 597 down to ultimately 586 BC, they came there, right, numerous times. And not only did they take people, right, they take the gold. When you read in Daniel, the 5th chapter, how do you think Belshazzar got his nasty ass lips on the the golden vessels of the Lord, drinking wine and stuff? He got it from us, right, as Isaiah prophesied. Verse 7, and of thy sons that thou shalt issue from thee, which thou shalt beget, shall they take away. And guess what? Daniel, the 3 holy children, they were of the royal line. And that's one of the reasons why they were put in that position when they were taken, because they were considered valuable to the Babylonians. But that's an example. It says, and of course the descendants, because when you follow the throne of David, right, those that sat on the throne were the descendants of Hezekiah and going on. And they were also sent, some, killed, but we know going up to Jeconiah, right, or Jehoiakim, he was one example that he descended from Hezekiah, and ends up being taken away to Babylon. In fact, let's look up here real quick. See, do we have Hezekiah? Yeah, we got Hezekiah. So if we look at his issue, right, or his children, we see here he has Manasseh, right, and then after Manasseh we have Ammon, and after Ammon we have Josiah, and after Josiah, which he has a good amount here, we're gonna follow the line of Jehoiakim, and from Jehoiakim we have Jehoiakim, or Jeconiah, and he is the one who, as it says here, he was dethroned by Nebuchadnezzar and taken into captivity. But he was then later on shown mercy while in captivity there. And then the line goes on through there from him. So wrapping up in Isaiah 39, and they shall be eunuchs in the palace of the king of Babylon. So he prophesied this down to the T. You can go and read Daniel, the 1st chapter, 2nd chapter, 3rd chapter. Exactly what Isaiah prophesied is what was taking place. Then said Hezekiah, and you know why? Because he saw it. The Lord revealed it to him. Then said Hezekiah to Isaiah, good is the word of the Lord Yahweh, which thou hast spoken. He said, moreover, for there shall be peace and truth in my days. And when he said good, it's not like he's like happy that the Lord is going to do this, but he's saying, you know what, like, I'm okay with that. Like, I understand it's the will of the Lord, but I'm still grateful that at least in my days, there's going to be peace. All right. And that brings us to the end of Isaiah, the 39th chapter. So not a lengthy chapter, but powerful in the sense that you see the accuracy here of the prophecy, right, or of prophecy in general. But here's an example of how everything that Isaiah prophesied concerning Babylon and what they would do, they ended up doing, though it wasn't in 10 years or 20 years or even 30 years from there. But I say at least at the very least 100 years. But then we know it's longer. It was more than that. So, Lord willing, this was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Recha Kodash. And until next time, Shalom.